The best advice ever given to me was to just start. Hi, I'm the Avalon Acheron, the average amateur author. I'm in the middle of writing my debut novel, Misplaced Destiny, and this is the collection of the advice that helped me. It may sound painfully simple when I say this. I should know, I still think that it's painfully simple. But the best advice anyone can ever give to you is to just start. It won't be perfect when you make that first step, but the point is to make it exist. You cannot improve upon a blank page. This is applicable to almost anything. I had to tell myself this when I made this video. You cannot simply wait to be better at the start. You need to start to be better. Even if it's the worst, most awful thing you know you've ever written, at least garbage can be improved. I should know. Every single start to every novel idea I've ever had has had its ups and downs before I even settled on the perfect start. I struggled heavily with beginnings at first. I used to spend all my time polishing the middle and end of my ideas that I never got around to the start. I learned incredibly quickly that I couldn't progress anything without having a foundation. That's what set apart my ideas versus my actual in-progress debut novel. Having a routine especially helped me getting into the zone of writing. The more I stuck to it, the easier it was to set my brain into write mode. Again, this advice can be used for anything. It's just as imperative to understand your brain. As someone with ADHD, my brain is prone to wandering and throwing tantrums and staring at a blank screen before doing something else. With my brand of ADHD, I find that having an instrumental track running in the background really helps cut out all the nonsense that my brain chatters about like a monkey on a sugar high. And having a clean space, even if it's just my desk, really helps soothes my mind and push unrelated struggles to the side just enough to get something done. Not to mention eating. Oh my word, it is imperative to eat something. Listen, I'm not a breakfast person. I usually prefer to skip it altogether and have a nice lunch. But regardless, if I'm writing in the morning or the noon or even the late hours of the night, at least eat one good thing before you write. I thought the whole fuel for your brain thing was just a bunch of crap, but they're not lying. Coffee can be a helpful stimulant for people with ADHD, as caffeine is, and take this with a grain of salt please, like a low dosage of ADHD medication for all you unmedicated people out there. Me. Not to say that it should be used all the time. You should take it sparingly, never more than 1 cup a day. You don't want it wearing off in effectiveness. If you really want it to work properly, that is. I like to drink right before I start writing. The better it tastes, the more it works. I can't stand bitterness, so I load that thing up with enough sugar to kill a horse and some caramel syrup and some milk. My sister says it's like a mini reward that takes you through the process of writing with a good mood. Because even if the words aren't flowing, you've made a pretty good coffee. And it's like an incentive for you to keep going. It's not entirely untrue, so I'm including it. My ADHD both hates schedules and needs them. So rather than conforming to a set schedule for the entire day, I simply keep a habit for writing that I can initiate whenever I want and incorporate things into that habit to force circumstances to center around a certain time. Like adding coffee and eating to my routine. I can ensure that I'll write sometime between the morning and noon. Before any later than noon, and I can't have coffee or eat breakfast or lunch. So, to make long short, Don't make strict schedules, make enactable routines. This is for my fellow plotters, people who plan meticulously. I myself am not a pantser, so I can't give you any good advice in that category. Novel planners are a lifesaver. I have one right here I use all the time in order to write my novel. It is imperative to have all that information in the same place, and it gives you things to think about that you probably haven't even considered. Whether bought or made, having all your lore in a handheld book can work wonders. I keep mine on my desk. It's full of lore, character backgrounds, and animals, timelines, to mention made-up languages. The most important thing it's helped me with, however, is the rough chapter outline. Listen closely and let me explain the magic of this. It's incredibly short. You only list 4 things of the most important events that will happen in the chapter. This was incredibly effective at teaching me pacing and what should be kept versus what was irrelevant and filler. I didn't have to blindly write a chapter and end whenever I felt it was good, like trying to see through the dark. Because before all this, all I knew was the overall book outline. I didn't know that it existed for chapters. The rough chapter outline then segues into the actual chapter outline that you can do after you've plotted well into your book. And you don't have to stick to whatever plot line that you make. You can go back and edit it whenever something new pops up in your head that just takes your novel to the next level of awesomeness. Chapter outlines are broken into 4 parts: key scenes, plot advancement, emotional development, and actual plot points. If any of the sections are lacking, then it is imperative to write more, either through combining chapters or expanding on big things that ought to be explained more. I love it. It creates a little box my ADHD brain can wander around in without stepping out of the bounds. It's always best to explain lore through teaching the characters, rather than trying to teach the audience. This can be difficult for authors whose main characters are hyper-aware or knowledgeable without making it sound like 2 characters stating something that they both obviously know for no clear reason other than teaching the readers. That's when you introduce ignorance. Some people do this by assigning a less knowledgeable side character who needs things to be explained to them. These characters are often comic relief, simultaneously providing levity no matter the story and informing the readers without making it sound like an encyclopedia. Others make their smart cookie main character ramble, lore dumping under the guise of a character habit. The way I went about it was to explain lore via giving the characters something to study, backing up the fact that they are scholarly while still giving the readers cool information. For example, I did this by having my main character, Merlin, explore Camelot's vast library for the very first time. Random books brought random information that worked well for world building and hints at later plot devices. This is why many books start with a character in a new place or a new circumstance, because no matter how capable the main character is, there are still ways to teach them and the readers new things. If you were to carry on and dump random things into dialogue or setting without explaining them, it can cause a great deal of confusion for the readers that can either work wonders or completely flop. I might make more videos on this, but that's where I'm going to end things. Thanks for watching, peeps. Bye!